Reporter. Episode 11, Poetic Justice, by Pete Bowers and Charles Berman, with Rich Bellin and Daniel Schwartz. Dateline Thorpsburg. From the desk of any Italic girl reporter, high atop Henderson Towers in Center City, in her office of the Thorpsburg Ledger-Star Bulletin Journal, we bring you the news of the world. Commissioned by seasoned newspaper editor Eugene Seabrook, Annie Italic tracks the most thrilling events of our day with the determination of a bloodhound, poised, notebook in hand, for the moment of her big break.
The interesting thing about being a reporter is nothing. Especially today. Today was very boring. I went to work. Something probably happened. And then work was over. So after a mind-numbing day at the office, we all ended up at the bar for some more mind-numbing of a more practical nature.
Don't worry, Annie. I learned all about these places. As a reporter, it's important to know these things. You might meet a source or a tipster who wants to meet you in a bar, but you should watch out because they're full of people trying to pick you up. If you wave your hands and whistle like this...
Yeah?
This person will come over to serve you. I'd like a drink, please. Barkeep.
It's Toni. What do you want?
I said, I'd like a drink, please, barkeep. But now I know you're Toni, the barkeep.
What drink?
Well, what's in my usual?
What are you talking about?
If you were a good bartender, then you would know what my usual is. It says so right here.
Just pour some vodka in a Shirley Temple.
Thanks for ending that, Harvey.
Okay. Snakebite for Harvey, Captain and Coke for Annie, Guinness for John, and a Shirley Temple Black, I guess, for her. Be right back.
Okay, so I was supposed to be reporting on the mysterious appearance of potholes around the city, but it was just some guy jogging who sweats acid.
That was today?
No, nothing happened today, remember? It was extremely boring. This was last week.
Wow. How did I miss this? You could be a supervillain with the power to sweat acid.
I turned it into potholes around city not caused by inclement weather. Gene said it was bad for public health to discourage jogging.
Wow. That's...
Wow, this drink is almost certainly better than a usual. I want to have this every time. Thanks, Harvey.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible. Then there was this time with the paperclip factory and the giant rat of Sumatra. I can't believe Gene Seabrook.
Shh. The, hot guy is coming on stage.
And, to kick off our open mic night, Dean, the comedy machine, who I'm given to understand is a comedian. Yeah, okay, give it up if you feel like it.
Thank you. See, there was a guy who came home and found his wife cheating on him with another man, and he was very angry because he didn't want her to, so he shot them both. Then he looked at her, and it turned out not to be his wife, and he didn't know what to do, so he went to a bar and started telling jokes.
And that was, Dean, the comedy machine. Sorry we had to cut you off, but we've got at least one other act to go on tonight.
And that's my time. You've been a great audience.
Hide. He's coming over.
Where do I hide? It's a bar.
Ah, reporter and his plucky friends. It's a pleasure to see you here at a bar without me ever ordering you to do it.
Actually, we didn't.
Know how skilled I would be at infiltrating your secret den of social leisure? Of course not. It's good to interact with you on a non-performance related way. Now, I think it'd be funny if you were all to watch the next act and write a story about him.
Dean, you know we're off the clock right now.
Oh, thank goodness I always bring my laptop with me everywhere I go. As every good reporter knows, you should always be prepared to cover a story at any time. Annie, you always say that you're a good reporter. Where's your laptop?
In my lap. It shows up every time I sit down. You can't seriously expect to show up while we're having a drink and tell us to report on this...
Reporters should always expect the unexpected.
Yeah, I was expecting you to act normal for once. Now I know why that was unexpected.
Oh, Harvey! That's one of several areas that's usually considered wrong to grasp without being asked to first.
Sorry.
He's coming on now. An inspiring story. The world's only robot poet.
And, okay, what is this? This is the world's only robot poet, author of incredibly lyrical and emotional verses for a robot that really touch us. To a certain extent, Even though he's a robot. Edgar Allan Polonium.
Thank you for listening to my robot poetry. I call this poem Poetry Program Number 4. Commence begin sequence. Beep. I am tortured by being made of metal, like a hubcap or nuclear warhead or kettle. My feelings are as complicated as a tangled cable. I feel as if my hard disk boot reliability is unstable.
This sounds like Johnny wrote it.
That's what Johnny would say. Where is he?
He developed a phobia of bars last week. Thankfully. Too many hands in the bowls of peanuts. You know, I never really thought about that before. And I'm not going to think about it again. Pass those over, would you?
Stirring. Let's get reporting, reporters.
I'm an editor. Can I go? I'll just be rewriting it later.
Why exactly are we supposed to be writing about this guy?
He's a robot, writing poetry. He's famous. This has never happened before. Robots don't have the emotional sensitivity. Every other attempt at robot poetry has turned out terrible. It'll be great publicity for this bar I regularly perform at.
Dean, this is pretty terrible.
For a person, for a robot, it's incredible.
Okay, I see that you may have a very racist point. Now could you please just go and let us enjoy the evening? At night, when we're not supposed to be working.
And deprive myself of the privilege of seeing you all in action? Not on your life. And no, usually I only encourage people to go on fool's errands and then sit back while they waste their time and criticize them when they're done. Usually it's with Comedy Now, with reporting. I've discovered I mentor people at things I can't even do.
Harvey, if someone says not to do something and you keep doing it, that's not polite. I'm being persistent in asking you to stop because a good reporter has to be persistent.
Harvey, really?
Less groping and more editing, Harvey. Find out what the facts are so you can check them later.
I can handle myself. And her.
Look, guys, I'll take the fall. This guy has no sense of meter or scansion and demonstrates complete metaphorical disunity, but I don't mind talking to him.
Look, if Susie's typing, I don't care. Maybe people really like crappy robot poems.
Hey, some people aren't any smarter than Gene Seabrook. Hey, Toni, can you get the robot poet over here?
For a robot, he was pretty shoddy looking. The joints were all coming apart and it looked like his paint was coming off. He might almost have been made out of cardboard boxes. For a robot with a poet's soul, he just had black holes for eyes. But I guess as crappy a poet as he was also a pretty crappy robot.
Hello, everyone. I am the famous robot poet. Alas, I am only appreciated due to my robot nature, a trick of birth or manufacture, I guess. If I was human, my genius would go, sadly, neglected.
Okay. We're a bunch of reporters from the Legistar Bulletin Journal being forced to work when we're supposed to be off. Mind if we ask you a few questions?
Okay, I am programmed to respond to queries from humans.
Where do you get your ideas?
That's okay. I get this all the time. I have observed that human creatures like to try to understand the nature of genius. I get them. The same place you get your ideas.
You mean the gutter?
What do you mean? I am a robot, so I take everything super literally.
Listen, just ignore him. What I'd like to do is...
Here's your usual Edgar. Screwdriver.
Thanks. Oh.
Hold on. I've never seen a robot drink before.
It is my muse. Most great writers are alcoholics.
Okay. Physiologically, it doesn't seem very...
According to my research, which I've been doing while we've been talking, there has never been a robot poet before. So, where do you like to go on vacation?
I only go on vacation away from my human oppressors into creative retreat.
So you drink and write poetry. Is there anything else you do that other robots don't?
I'm going to mace you now, Harvey. According to my sources, that's an appropriate action in a situation like this.
Don't mace inside, are you crazy? Not inside! Ever been maced before? Well, you know what happens when you mace somebody in a bar with central air? You mace everybody in the bar. And I reminded again why not to hang out with Susan Cecilia SanSerriff voluntarily. The result was a little bit of, what's the word? Cacophony, broken tables, shattered glass. Needless to say, there was a lot of screaming. But there was one scream that was particularly interesting.
Ow! Ow! This is painful to my circuitry. My transistors are malfunctioning. Jesus fuck! Motherfucker! Oh, Christ! Ah!
Ow! You're right, this hurts like hell. Wait a minute. You felt the mace? Guys, you know what this means?
Get him.
Where is he?
What does it mean?
Edgar the robot, he's not real.
Of course he is. We were just talking to him. And this is much more painful than it was in my self-defense class.
Not a real robot. Find him!
You'll never catch me. You're blinded by mace.
Oh, yeah? Well, you'll never get away. You're blinded by mace.
Damn you, Italic girl reporter! And your meddling friends, too. My plan has been foiled! My genius went unappreciated when I was merely a great human poet. Me and my cunning robot disguise would have gone undetected for years, bringing me fame, fortune, and recognition of my great poetry had you not revealed me!
I'm glad I maced everybody instead of just Harvey. Something bad happened to him, so he learned his lesson about where you're allowed to touch people. And something bad happened to you, so you learned your lesson about lying.
Exactly. Now let's feel around in the dark for him.
Harvey! You didn't learn your lesson yet.
So, when we could all see again, we wrote up a good story about a man fooling everyone into thinking he was a robot poet. For once, Jean published the facts. And my story, No Robots Write Poetry at All, set back the robot equality movement for 20 years. And in the interests of self-defense, we took away Suzie's mace. An interesting, not-so-happy ending to the story. The bar ended up naming a drink in honor of Suzie. It's called My Usual.